right now?
Yes.
Yes. They have to share joint land use board. That's why they didn't move.
Okay.
Jerry,
You're good?
thank you.
Okay. This meeting is called pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Law. This meeting of June 13th, 2023, with instructions for internet access are included in a meeting notice sent to the Bergen County Times and the Courier Post on January 4th, 2023, and advertised in said newspapers on January 6th, 2023, and January 10th, 2023, respectively, posted on the website and the bulletin board in the municipal building on January 4th, 2023, and has remained continuously posted as required under statute. In addition, a copy of this notice is and has been available to the public and is on file in the office of the municipal clerk. Can we all rise for the flag salute?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, can we get a roll call, please?
Mayor Klaus?
Here.
Mr. Montgomery?
Here.
Mr. Levinson?
Here.
Mrs. Gilmore? Here. Mrs. Evans?
Here.
Okay, can I get a motion to approve the minutes? Can I take these together, John? The minutes of the regular meeting and executive session of May 9th, 2023?
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second that.
Mr. Montgomery?
Yes.
Mrs. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Levinson?
Yes.
Mrs. Gilmore?
Yes.
Mayor Klaus?
Abstain. Okay, we got the reports, tax collector, code enforcement, fire official, construction, emergency services, New Jersey State Police, and do we need a motion to accept these? Okay, looking for a motion.
Make a motion to approve?
I'll second, but with a question. Are we missing a report from the EMTs
Yes.
again? Still, this has not been received this year?
Correct.
I have a question also. The one for the New Jersey State Police is in person, and I see we have the officer present. Is he not meant to give it in person?
No, when we get to it, yeah, we're going to see if he has a report, yes. Okay, let's take, do we take a vote to accept these reports first?
Well, if he's going to get one,
Okay, yep, come on up. Good.
Hi, everyone. I have nothing major to report, just a reminder with vehicle theft and burglaries across the state. Just don't leave any valuables in your car in plain sight. Make sure you lock your cars. And I know on Route 38, David Arlen's Jewelers was burglarized. Detectives are working on it right now. There's several leads, so it's under investigation. And
When was that true? Sorry.
that was a few weeks ago, back in June. So it's, yeah, I can't say too much about it.
I understand.
It's ongoing. Hainsworth Day was great. We were there. Thank you for inviting us. And that's all I have.
Good. Thank you, Sergeant. Okay, I guess we get a vote on this?
We had a motion and a
We
second.
got a motion and a second.
And a second. I second that.
Okay. Who was the motion? I'm sorry.
I thought you,
She made the motion, I second it.
Okay.
Leila.
that was the other way around, but it works.
It worked.
That's what I thought. Mr. Levinson?
Yes.
Mrs. Gilmore?
Yes.
Mr. Montgomery?
Yes.
Mrs. Evans?
Yes.
Mayor Klaus?
Yes. All right, we have a presentation from the Bergen County GIF membership renewal by Paul Forlenza. Great.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the Township Committee. My name is Paul Forlenza. I'm the Executive Director of the Burlington County Municipal Joint Insurance Fund, and I appreciate the opportunity this evening to talk with you in regards to your proposed renewal with the JIF. The JIF appointment is for a 3-year membership, and your current membership in the fund expires at the end of this year. So as part of our renewal process, the fund asked that a representative from my office come out and have a conversation with the leaders of the community, the elected officials, and talk about the JIF and how we're doing and what's going on with our program, some of the resources and programs that we offer, and then have a conversation with you in regards to any concerns you may have about your renewal. So I did pass out a copy of my presentation for this evening, and I'd like to, if it's okay, go a little bit out of order, because when I looked at the presentation for tonight's meeting, I saw that a couple of the pages got flipped around. So I would like to draw your attention, if we can start with page 3. The last couple of years has been interesting in the JIF world, to be quite honest with you. We have been dealing with some significant factors that are impacting the way we do business as well as our financials. If you take a look on page 3, we're dealing with probably the most significant hard insurance market that we've seen since the late 1980s, early 1990s, which gave the original birth to the Joint Insurance Fund. At that time, we were not able to get coverage for municipalities, which then gave to the creation of the Joint Insurance Funds. And that's what we're experiencing now. And have been for the last several years. It's been a very difficult insurance market. You can see there that we've had to increase funding for our cyber liability coverage by almost 60%, as well as our property by almost 20% over the last year. We've also are dealing with inflation, as many factors of inflation are hitting all parts of our world. We are dealing with inflation in the area of medical costs, as well as temporary total disability and wage replacement, which are the two single biggest components of a workers' compensation claim. We've also had a significant couple of changes in regards to legislation. New Jersey, unfortunately, was one of the few states in the country that made COVID that was contracted by essential workers or first responders compensable under the Workers' Compensation Act. As a result, the MEL-affiliated joint insurance funds, which the broker JIF is one of those, there are 18 MEL-affiliated JIFs in the state of New Jersey that encompass almost 600 public entities. We've seen about a $25.5 million hit from COVID-related costs. And those are expenses that were obviously not anticipated by the program, so we've had to absorb those costs. The broker JIF specifically, just over $800,000 specifically in losses, and that number is continuing to climb because we're now dealing with long haulers, and a lot of your employees are starting to have some long haulers, and again, that is compensable under the Act. We also had a significant impact from the pension board directive that came out in the middle of 2021. Basically, what that directive from the pension board did was shift costs, which were traditionally absorbed by the pension system, onto the workers' compensation insurers. For the Atlantic, Broco, and Trico JIFs, which I work with on a daily basis, we've been able to document more than $10 million in claims that have been impacted by this change. So again, it's a shifting of costs onto the workers' compensation program and your joint insurance fund. We're also dealing with social inflation, the general feeling or concept that if something happens to me, it's got to be somebody's fault. I'm going to sue every time I trip over a curb or a sidewalk or wherever the case may be. That's called social inflation. It escalates or increases the costs associated with settlement of claims. You'll see there on the bottom of page 3 a headline from a recent New Jersey Advanced Media study documenting almost $90 million of costs that have been paid out on behalf of police departments over the last, 4 years at this point. Obviously, you don't have a police department, but again, it's a factor that impacts the overall budget for not only this JIF, but the MEL system as a whole. If I can draw your attention to page 2, just kind of flip back one page. As I indicated earlier, we're dealing with a worldwide insurance crisis. And it's not just affecting joint insurance funds, it's affecting all insurance companies. What's happening out there is that reinsurance companies no longer want to provide extended or catastrophic coverage to regular insurance companies. You're probably seeing this if you've renewed your homeowner's policy recently, or even your auto policy recently. You're starting to see increases even though you may not have had a claim on that policy. That is all built into the system. It's part of what's driving our overall costs. With the broker JIF specifically, 42% of our local budget, our local broker JIF budget, is wrapped up in reinsurance costs. So if those reinsurance costs increase substantially, it pulls the entire JIF budget higher. It's really affecting all lines of coverage. And if you can flip back now to page 4, and I promise this is the last time I'll flip you around. Page 4, I want to focus in a little bit on the property market, because the property market really is a significant factor. Page 4. Focusing on property, I think everyone's aware of global warming and rising sea levels. We are seeing increasing costs associated with recovery in the cost form of building costs as well as labor costs. And we're also seeing increased number of natural disasters, forest fires, hurricanes, tornadoes, and the like. It's hard to believe, and when you think about it, I had to kind of figure this out a little bit. In 2022 alone, across the United States, there were 18 separate $1 billion property losses. That's substantial. 18 single occurrence billion-dollar losses. That's almost one every 3 weeks. It's hard to believe, but when you start thinking back, you had several hurricanes that hit Florida, you had substantial snowfall that occurred in upstate New York. All of those things were significant losses and impact the overall property market. If you flip to page 5, as I indicated earlier, a substantial portion of our budget goes to pay for those reinsurance costs. And as you can see, they're really impacted by a lot of these factors that I just described. If you look at the other major portion of our budget, that 58%, that's your local JIF budget. That's our operating expenses, our member benefits, and our loss funding to pay for our standard run-of-the-mill type of claims that we get. On page 6, you'll see a breakdown of that a little more granular view of things. What you'll see here is, again, those reinsurance costs, and then the loss funding portion, our operational costs, and then our RMCs and member benefit claim costs. And I'm happy to report to you that we're running a very efficient operation in the Broco JIF. We're running on about 10 cents of every dollar. That's in compared to other joint insurance funds around the state and the country that are exceeding 20% at this point. But what we've been really concentrating the last couple of years on is trying to control those elements of our budget that we really can control, because the reinsurance costs and things like that are kind of outside of our control. I can't stop Mother Nature from having more storms. I can't stop cyber criminals from necessarily attacking us, but I can certainly do everything I can under my power to help control those risks. So if you jump to page 7, what you'll see here is a breakout of some of the programs that we've implemented over the course of the last several years that I think really highlight what we're doing to try and contain our budget the best we possibly can. And I'm going to walk through some of these in regards to safety training, risk management training, some of the specialized coverages that we provide to our members, and then I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have in regards to those types of programs. So if you jump to page 8, cyber risk management. It's a big buzzword right now. Municipalities are utilizing technology more today than they ever had before, and with that is an increase in risk. Cyber is a peril. It's not a type of coverage. It's really a peril. And in that regard, one of the things we've tried to do is protect ourselves best we can, not only from getting potential claims, but also the costs associated with ensuring that peril. January 1st of 2023, the 18 MEL-affiliated JIFs got together and created the Cyber Risk Management Joint Insurance Fund. It's what we call a special purpose JIF. We had to do that because that was the only way we were able to really keep our hands around this peril of cyber. What's nice about the cyber JIF is that it's going to be providing consistent coverage, a fairly consistent pricing program, and risk management programs to our members. It also incentivizes our members to strengthen their cybersecurity profile. If you see at the top of page 7, what you'll see there is, top of page 8, I apologize. What you'll see there is a prototype claim. We've got 2 sets of standards within the Cyber Risk Management Fund. We have those towns that meet the basic security standards and then the advanced security standards. And then unfortunately, we have towns that don't meet any of the standards. Those towns that don't meet any of the standards are looking at a substantially larger deductible should they have a cyber loss than those who have those security protocols in place. So again, it's very important for you to be working with your IT vendor to meet these standards. And all of this information has been made available to all the members. They all have access to all the various policies and procedures as well as the standards that need to be implemented by the end of this year so that should you have a claim, you're protected in regards to your deductible. If you jump to the next page, these are a couple of liability programs that we have in place to help protect you. We have the TULIP coverage, Tenant User Liability Insurance Program. You have a resident who wants to come into town and use your community center for a Sweet 16 party, you certainly would ask them for a certificate of insurance naming the town as an additional insured. Not every resident has access to that coverage. It's a web-based program. They go into the web page, fill out a brief application, submit it within 30 seconds. They've got a certificate of insurance. They've got a one-day policy in place, and it names the township as an additional insured. It protects you. Same thing with the model indemnification language, which we have in place for you, that we recommend you utilize in your contracts with vendors, as well as the certificate insurance guidelines. Those guidelines are there so that you can make sure that you have the appropriate coverage, types, and limits in place when you enter into certain types of contracts with vendors. So again, all that is available to you. On page 10, you'll see kind of an update on our training. We break training down into kind of two sections. We have risk management training, we have safety training. We provide right now risk management training for all the employees of your municipality, including our elected officials as well as members of your planning and zoning board. We also provide the more traditional safety training. As a member of the Borough Co-GIF and as a member of a MEL-affiliated joint insurance fund, you have access to the regional training that we do throughout the county, actually throughout southern New Jersey on an annual basis. You also have access to the MEL Safety Institute, which provides online, in-person, as well as streaming safety program and safety training. We issue bulletins, we provide you with on-site loss control visits where a representative from our loss control team comes out and meets with your employees and looks at your buildings and looks for potential hazards that you may have. All of these elements create what we call a culture of safety, and they do make a difference. If you look on page 11, what you will see is a chart that shows the amount of training that we've done from 2003 through 2022. These are training events, people who attended actual training classes. And what we do is we track our training versus our LTAF, lost time accident frequency. Lost time accident frequency is an indicator of the severity of a claim of a municipal employee. A lost time accident is defined as when an accident is so severe that the employee is out of work for 7 days or more. And as you can see from this chart, as you look over the last 20 years, the lost time accident frequency across the state has declined as our training has gone up. That's why we put so much time and effort into our training and risk management programs. If you flip to page 12, we're looking at the Employment Practices Risk Management Program. If you've been on committee for a couple of years, you know that every 2 to 3 years we ask each of our members to update their model policies and procedures for employment-related matters. An element of that training program, element of that overall risk management program is training. We provide court-mandated training to all your managers and supervisors, police command staff if you had them, as well as the program that you need to offer to your rank-and-file employees. So we provide all of that to you as part of your membership with the fund. We also give you updated model policies and procedures. They were loaded onto our website back on May 17th. We sent a memorandum out to our members with hyperlinks of how they can access it. And we do ask that you come back into compliance with this program by November 1st of this year. So I know that's something, Paul, that you will be working on with, I'm sure, with John. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention the EPL helpline at the bottom there. That's an opportunity that if you have an employment-related type of matter, you can pick up the phone on our dime, speak with an attorney who specializes in employment-related law, and get an answer to how to deal with an employment-related issue before taking action. If you call us after you've taken action, the horse is out of the barn. Okay? Some of the claims management programs are highlighted on page 13. Transitional duty. This is an opportunity to bring an employee who has been injured back to work in a limited capacity as they transition back to full duty capabilities. Last year, the Trico GIF was able to use almost 2/3 of our transitional duty days and save the GIF about $141,000. So a good effort by our members. We also have a very strong managed care program. So when your employees are injured, they get into our network very quickly. We put 95% of our claims through the network last year, resulting in over 60% savings to our medical bills. We have a very strong GIF defense panel, which, John, you're familiar with. We have local attorneys who know our vicinage, who understand our courts, and who specialize in the defense of public entities on a daily basis. And they understand Title 59 immunities, which we utilize on your behalf to extract you out of difficult cases. Page 14 highlights a rather unique program that we have in place. This is our Wellness Incentive Program. The Borough GIF is one of 3 joint insurance funds in the state and helps them implement local wellness initiatives to help drive better health and underlying health and conditions of our employees. And it's important because if you look on page 15, these are statistics from the 3 joint insurance funds that I work with, Atlantic, Broco, and Trico. And what you'll see here is the cost differential between employees who are injured with comorbidities and those without. And I apologize, it's a little small. But the chart at the top here, these are our overall total claims costs. You can see that a claim for an individual who has underlying comorbidities, that being hypertension, obesity, high cholesterol, smoking, and the like, are double the cost of an employee who does not have underlying health conditions. Breaking that down a little bit more, on the lower left-hand side, these are indemnity and medical costs, time out of work, wage replacement, and medical costs. Again, more than double the costs for employees who have comorbidities versus those who do not. And finally, on the right-hand side is total number of days out of work. Again, twice as long. So you have an employee who has comorbidities, who has a significant injury, you can anticipate that employee being out of work twice as long as an employee who does not. That's why we have a wellness program in place. It's a very unique program that we've developed. On page 16, I'm happy to report that you, the Barlco JIF, is part of the Environmental Risk Management Joint Insurance Fund. Again, another special purposes JIF. We provide environmental impairment liability coverage. But beyond that, the EJIF's all about services. They provide very rock-solid coverage, but it's all about services. They're out able doing inspections of your public works yards, your utility authority yards, and the like. They're out there providing guidance in regards to DEP regulations. They're out there providing a lot of assistance to our towns. They also have a 24/7 hotline. If you have a tanker maybe that flips over on a municipal road in the middle of the night, you can pick up a phone, call 1-800-LINE. They will dispatch somebody to the scene immediately to take over command of that scene. They'll deal with DEP, and they'll deal with the county health department and all the other entities that'll get involved in it. So again, it's a great program that's offered by the Environmental JIF. And again, it's all part of your membership. Finally, on page 17, that's an auto repair program. We noticed in 2021 that we were seeing an escalation in costs associated with the repair and replacement of municipal vehicles that were involved in auto accidents. We put together and in place a very stringent auto repair program that helps control the costs associated with the repair of your municipal vehicles. All of these elements, all these programs I just described add up to a much stronger bottom line, as highlighted on page 18. The Barlco JIF is in its 32nd year of operation. We kicked off operations in 1991. Right now, we have a surplus position, just over $5.7 million. We have almost $14.3 million of cash on hand to pay your claims. We have released dividends of almost $13 million back to our members, including $382,000 to Hainesport alone. You can see that we're in a very strong position. We will really go after subrogation efforts as well. Subrogation is where we go after parties that are responsible for injuries or damage to municipal property. So again, all these programs help keep us strong. One of the things that we're most proud of is that we want the input of our members. That's why one of the reasons I'm out here this evening. We constantly are looking for the input from our members. What can we do better? What can we offer you that we're not currently offering you? For those of you who took the elected officials training this year, you received a follow-up email from my office with a hyperlink to a survey. What did you think of the training? What do we need to cover in the future? Did you like having it pre-recorded versus an in-person type of training format? That's all important feedback. The Joint Insurance Fund today is reflective of the needs and the exposures of our member municipalities. We get a lot of feedback, we get a lot of input from our members, which I think makes the JIF very productive and very useful to our members. With that said, as highlighted on page 20, some things you can do to help us control costs locally. Please encourage your employees to engage in our wellness program. We do ask that you utilize transitional duty opportunities when available and when made available and known to you. Take advantage of the training opportunities that are available to you and your employees whenever possible, whether it's in person or online. Also, cyber awareness. As I mentioned, this is a big area for us. Cyber claims are very, very expensive. But beyond the cost, they are very disruptive to your operations. You never want to be in a situation where you've got that type of, where the possibility of residential PII, personally identifiable information, has been released. So you want to protect yourselves the best way you possibly can. So please engage with our IT director, Jerry Caruso, and please make sure that you get these standards in place. It will eliminate 80% of your possible claims. Okay? So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have in regards to your JIF membership.
I have a question with regard to the increase in cost this year as over last year's cost.
Yes.
Well,
Not our standard.
Sorry?
That's not usual for us.
Okay, so what has it been?
We're typically 1 or 2% budget or a flat budget, but the
What's-
last 2 years have been substantially higher than that.
And what has the cost increase been? Over that normal 2%?
Instead of normal 2%?
Yeah.
I believe it's highlighted. If you take a look in here,
Okay,
you'll
You're the
see,
expert.
yeah, our loss funding, which is the major component of our budget, last year went up 4.57%, and in 2023 went up 13.18%. And that's a reaction to those items which I just described to you.
so we were originally around 2%
Normally about
increase,
2% increase.
But
yes.
this past year, we went up to 14.53%.
Well, the loss funding portion of the budget went up that much. The overall budget went up in that neighborhood.
In that neighborhood,
that
of
neighborhood.
14.5%.
Yeah, about 14%, yeah.
All right, substantial jump.
Yeah, and it's happening not only to this JIF, but across the state.
All right, big expense to Hainesport.
I know it is, yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
I have a question about the cyber program. Do you happen to know where we are in terms of compliance? Are we basic or are we advanced, and where do we have to get there?
We're actually in the process of transitioning for our risk management program. Last year, we had 3 tiers for 2022. That's grandfathered into 2023. We now have just 2 tiers, and I believe you folks are in full compliance.
3-tier, yeah, we're
Yeah,
at the 3-tier,
3-tier.
full compliance, yep.
But what happened was with the 3 tiers, some of the standards changed a little bit as we transitioned into 2023, 2024, because what we're doing is reacting to what's going on in the cyber world. You know, what are the cyber criminals up to now? As a result, you'll have to recertify yourself, but a lot of the standards are the same, but they've changed a little bit within what category they are.
Thank you.
That's something I know Paul will be working on.
Yes, and we also just applied, it's one of the things I'm going to ask the governing body to retroactively approve, because it was due Friday, but we just applied for that grant funding that was available for cybersecurity, state and local cybersecurity grant program, so we're eligible up to $15,000 to help us through a separate grant
Correct.
process to help us with this new round of compliance.
Compliance. And cyber's not going away.
No.
It's not. It's only going to get more difficult to manage over time.
Sure, thank you.
Sure.
I'm sorry, Paul, you said we applied for that grant, or we?
Yeah, so our
Okay.
cybersecurity professional that the Borough of Jiff hired, Jerry Caruso, who also happens to be WinSec Networks Plus, which is the company that we've been using.
Right.
So it's pretty seamless for us, pretty fortunate. But he recommended all of the member municipalities apply for this funding. It's it's the state and local cybersecurity grant program. It's a federal program funded by the Department of Homeland Security to help improve cybersecurity in the state and local government. So it's obviously to bolster our position in the cyber world, and we are eligible for up to $15,000. But there are going to be tranches of funding over the next 4 years for, as we get further along into this.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
No, my pleasure. Finally, this is your annual report card. We provide this to you on an annual basis, and when I get an opportunity to come out and speak with you, I like to bring it out with me. On the left-hand side, if you open it up, you'll see kind of our financials, where we stand as of the end of the year, as well as of March 31st. You will also, to the right-hand side, see some of the various programs that you're enrolled in as part of the Borough Code JIF, including your optional safety budget, your safety incentive program, our EPL cyber risk management program, our elected officials training. I appreciate you continuing to engage in that program. Below that, you will see some of the metrics that the JIF uses to compare how you are performing as a municipality versus the JIF's overall results. And again, you're performing very favorably. You guys are doing a great job.
Yeah, it looks like we're much lower than the average of the other
Yep, that's your loss
other
ratio.
municipalities, significantly.
Yes. Yeah, you guys are doing a great job. You're going to go through what's called the Reval Reward Program this year. We're going to, because you're up for renewal this year, we're going to pull you out of the mix. We're going to send off all of your exposure data and your loss data to the fund actuary. Fund actuary is going to price you as if you were a new member coming into the fund. So that may result in you seeing a reduction in your overall assessment this year.
That was where I was going, so thank you for that.
That's a
Makes
process
sense.
that we do once every 3 years for all our members. The problem is that the underlying funding is increasing, and that's what's
It
putting pressure
affects
on it.
the whole group, right?
It does.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Like
We
any
float
type
as
of
one and we
insurance.
sink as one, even though that may be driven by only a couple of members. That's the point
We're-
of a joint insurance fund.
We're pretty well-managed, and we run a tight ship here,
You do.
thanks to our professionals, so, it's nice to be able to get rewarded financially for that, et cetera, so thank you.
With that said, I hope you'll look favorably upon your renewal resolution and agreement with the JIF in an upcoming meeting. And final note, I appreciate your ongoing hospitality and allowing the JIF to meet here on a monthly basis. This has been great. Paula's been wonderful. Her staff's been great. I know we kind of make a mess of things when we set up tables and chairs and everything, but we do appreciate you allowing us to be here.
Sure.
All right. Thank you for all. It's nice seeing you all.
Thank you, Paul.
Be well.
Thank you.
All right, Paul.
Okay, we're at the comments from the public section. This is agenda items only, and when if anybody wants to speak, you come up, give your name and address. So anybody, go ahead.
Good evening. My name is David Berkowitz, and I live at 10 Applewood Court, and I'm joined in the back of the room by my wife Debbie, and also the majority of residents that live on Applewood Court, my neighbors. And we're here tonight to ask for your help. We have an abandoned home on our property, on our street. It's been abandoned for 7 years now, and we have, over that 7-year period, tried to be proactive in contacting the bank, contacting a property manager, contacting the sheriff. There are safety issues with respect to this property. I've seen teenagers, our homes have walkout basements, so they have 3 stories. We've seen teenagers consuming alcohol on the roof of the home. I've had to call the New Jersey State Police. The home has been broken into. Teenagers are partying in the house. The swimming pool in the backyard has pretty much collapsed, and we're concerned that there's mosquitoes and the pool is very polluted. The lawn has not been maintained except when we continue to call and seek assistance, and we just don't know where to turn. We even have a resident on our street who is interested in purchasing the property, but every road leads to a dead end, and the family that lived there moved out and established residence in Medford. It appears the house is still titled in the husband and wife's name, but nobody can give us any information as to who has legal ownership, who has responsibility for maintaining the property, and again, it's presenting issues for our street and for our community. There are a number of small children that come on the street, and we just want to make sure that everybody can stay safe. We want to make sure that people don't identify that home as a place to go, where young people can engage in activities that would make us all uncomfortable as parents, and we really just don't know where to turn. And so we're here tonight to get guidance and to get your support on what we can do from a next step perspective. I'm sure there's all types of legalities around who can foreclose, who can take possession. I'm sure there's liens on the property, but it does represent an issue for our community. And so we're here tonight to ask for your help.
I visited the property, and then we have a lien on the property now for maintaining the grass. So where we go to from here, it's on our radar now. So, we're going to see what we can do about it, what we can legally do about it.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Is there somebody that we could stay in contact with from the township just to at least stay apprised of the situation or connect with if we see any further issues that represent a concern? I mean, we can always call the New Jersey State Police, but that's probably not the best use of their resources if there's a problem. But
Well, I'm the liaison to code enforcement, so if you want, you can always email me.
Okay.
And I'll keep you abreast of anything that's changed.
Okay.
Or Paul is always available.
As well as our code enforcement officer.
Yes, also Rini, the code enforcement officer, yes.
Okay, thank you. Last question. Is there anything that we can be doing to try to help address the situation from a legal perspective? Either there's a bank that has title or the sheriff is waiting for a sheriff's sale. Is there anything that we as residents could do through legal action to help expedite resolution?
It's a great question, Mr. Berkowitz. I can tell you that the mayor and Paul and I have meetings once a month before this meeting to set up the agenda, and they brought this to my attention Wednesday. I was out Friday and Monday, but I'm looking into who has the responsibilities, right? So we know that it is a home still titled to two people, and as you indicated, they moved to Medford. We also know that the bank is involved, so I'm trying to go through the court records to see if there is, for example, a property settlement agreement between the couple. I'm trying to find out who is the best party to maybe bring some pressure on to make this not so much of a nuisance. And I mean that in the legal sense, not just the
Yes.
practical sense.
Well,
So,
thank you. If
I have
there's anything we
interest.
can do there, we just let us know.
Yeah.
We have a vested interest, as I'm
Obviously.
sure you know.
Yep, sure.
Thank you for your time, Mr. Mayor. Thank you to the council. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anybody online?
No.
Okay, with that, we will close that portion of public comments. All right, we have a public hearing and final adoption of ordinance number 2023-5. Can I get a motion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that motion.
Mr. Montgomery?
Yes.
Mr. Levinson?
Yes.
Mrs. Gilmore?
Yes.
Mrs. Evans?
Is this to open the public hearing?
I believe so.
We need to have a
Yes.
hearing.
Mayor Klaus?
Yes. On the
Is there
pub,
anybody in the public?
is there anybody in the public or anybody have a concern about this ordinance? Any questions? Okay, let's get a motion and a second to adopt.
Motion to approve.
Second?
Mr. Levinson?
Yes.
Mr. Montgomery?
Yes.
Mrs. Gilmore?
Yes.
Mrs. Evans?
Yes.
Mayor Klaus?
Yes. Okay, ordinance number, this is a public hearing, final adoption, ordinance number 2023-6. It is basically this is the lid-based for rental properties.
This is just introduction.
Oh, it's just an introduction, I'm sorry, first reading introduction, yes. So can we have a motion for the introduction?
So move.
Second?
Second.
Okay, great.
Mrs. Gilmore? Mr. Levinson?
Yes.
Mr. Montgomery?
Yes.
Mrs. Evans?
Yes.
Mayor Klaus?
Yes. Okay. We have some consent agenda resolutions.
And we can pass these in one
We can, one motion.
motion? Okay.
So basically, it is the resolution 2023-78-6 liquor licenses, 2023-79-6 rate of pay for seasonal workers, 2023-80-6 authorizing a lien on 6 Applewood Court for maintenance, 2023-81-6 approving a block party, 2023-82-6 starting, let's see, we're amending Hainesport Township Employee Handbook, and 2023-83-6 raffle license for the Ladies Fire Auxiliary.
Mayor and committee, could you pull 78-6, and we'll talk about that separately?
Sure.
E through F can be one motion.
Okay.
Full 78.6, the first one?
78-6, letter A.
Yes.
Wait a minute.
That's the first one.
78-6, okay, good. Okay, got it.
First one.
So the motion would be for B through.
Items B through F.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve resolutions B through F.
Second that.
Mr. Montgomery?
Yes.
Mr. Levinson?
Yes.
Mrs. Gilmore?
Yes.
Mrs. Evans?
Yes.
Mayor Klaus?
Yes. John, are we going to revisit this?
Yes, sir.
Keep going. You're going to consent. One more.
There you go, Sparky. There is an issue with the first licensee. We don't have all the paperwork from the state confirming certain issues. So we'd like the resolution, if you're okay with it, and we'll do the language later, but authorizing that first one to be extended 30 days, right, to July.
June 30th?
No, it becomes July 1, right? So July 31st. In the event, and in the further event, however, that should that clearance information come from the state in the meantime, it's automatically extended another 11 months. If it doesn't come in until the 10th or 11th, well, you're going to meet on the 11th. We're just concerned about holding this business up because of a state delay, right? So this carries them through July, but automatically extends them if they get that paperwork in the meantime. So if the paperwork comes in next week, you would otherwise be extending them to next year anyway, right? So that's what that does. It's 30 days automatically, and if the paperwork comes in, it goes to a year, just like everybody else.
So what we need is
So it'd be a motion to adopt.
I have a question, actually,
Yeah.
seeing as we're talking about it. I see 6 applicants, but I'm only aware of 2 licensed premises and 2 liquor stores in Hainsport. So where are the other 2 applicants based? Like, why do we have liquor licenses that don't have premises or liquor stores?
Well, they all have a
They're in-
premise,
They all have premises.
with the
Hainsport?
exception of Rancoca's Lakeside. It's a pocket.
It's a
license.
pocket.
What's a pocket license? Sorry,
It's an in-pocket license, which means that they're currently not housed in a physical location. They continue to renew their license.
The license is still good,
okay.
it's just nomadic. It's
Is that just the one? The
Waiting
last
for a
one?
home.
The last one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which ones were you questioning?
I was,
Unsure of.
I know we have 2 licensed premises, and I know we have 2 liquor stores, but I see 6 applicants. So one of them is a pocket license, so which is the other one? Is that another pocket license, or am I missing some?
Maybe Bradford is what you're thinking of?
Might be.
That's the catering?
Oh, the catering, okay,
Yes.
I got you.
So are we making a motion? Am I saying the name of the business, or am I just saying we're extending 30 days?
Yeah, you can say, so it's, and it's not their fault. Right,
it's the state, yeah.
State. So
Right.
it is a resolution, you would adopt Resolution 2023-78-6 with the understanding that Marrow Brothers is extended through July 31st, right? But in the event the state paperwork comes in the meantime, it will automatically be extended another 11 months like everybody else, right? If there's an issue and we're sitting here on the 11th and we don't have it yet, you'll extend it to August 31st, something like that. So you don't want to punish the business because Trenton isn't doing its job.
Right, exactly. It's not their fault, and we don't want to punish the business, sure, yeah, okay. So I'd like to make a motion that we approve the 5 licenses and to extend the 30 days.
I think, if I can interrupt you for a second, the better motion would be to adopt the resolution as we just discussed.
I'd like to make a motion that we adopt as discussed. I was hoping you were going to say that in the first place.
I'll second that.
I'm looking at you, you keep going, I'm like, I'm not going to remember all that, John.
Second.
Mr. Montgomery?
Yes.
Mr. Levinson?
Yes.
Mrs. Gilmore?
Yes.
Mrs. Evans?
Yes.
Mayor Klaus?
yes. All right, going to the resolution 2023-84-6. This is the fiscal year 24 municipal aid grant application. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Mrs. Gilmore?
Yes.
Mr. Levinson?
Yes.
Mr. Montgomery?
Yes.
Mrs. Evans?
Yes.
Mayor Klaus?
Yes. Resolution 2023-85-6, authorizing partial payment to Hainsport Volunteer Fire Company. Can I get a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
I just like to just make a statement first. Do I make that statement before we go through everything, John, or do I wait until we approve it?
What statement?
I just want to make a statement that I'm just happy to provide a third of the allotment to the Hainsport Volunteer Fire Company. We've put money aside for them, and we're
Yeah, I
happy
would
to
have
give
a
it.
comment as well, so.
Yeah, no, now's the time to make it before it gets, once it's adopted.
Then it's adopted, yeah, so
Yeah.
that's just happy
Ken,
to
do your
happy to
thing
do it.
first. Do your thing first.
Okay.
Happy to do it, yeah. I was talking to our fire chief, and they actually had to go out to help fight the fires that are currently taking place in the Pine Barrens, and they took the brush truck, and unfortunately, at that point in time, the pump failed. So that's definitely a need that needs to be taken care of just for the protection of all citizens, whether they live in Haynesburg or not. We do have sending relationships, so people are sending us good equipment. We need to send them also good equipment. They also had about a $6,000 repair on the existing fire truck, waiting for a report that needs to be done to know what kind of funding will be available or what changes or modifications we have to make for the future. But in the meantime, they put out those monies, so they do need to refresh their funds. They're trying to exist. They're still doing a great job, and I believe we need to support them, so I support this resolution.
And I will second it.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Levinson?
Yes.
Mrs. Evans?
Yes.
Mrs. Gilmore?
Yes.
Mr. Montgomery? Mayor Klaus?
Yes. All right, Resolution 2023-76-5, declaring an existing mobile home park an area in need of rehabilitation.
I'd like to make that motion to approve.
I second it.
Before the vote is taken, the record should reflect that the planning board did review this and recommended its adoption
Yes,
without any conditions or changes?
correct.
Thank you.
Mr. Montgomery?
Yes.
Mr. Levinson?
Yes.
Mrs. Gilmore?
Yes.
Mrs. Evans?
Yes.
Mayor Klaus?
Yes. Resolution 2023-86-6, authorizing execution of affordable housing settlement agreement. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Montgomery?
Yes.
Mr. Levinson?
Yes.
Mrs. Gilmore?
Yes.
Mrs. Evans?
Yes.
Mayor Klaus?
Yes. Okay, we're at the business licenses. Approval of the business licenses. Can we get a motion to approve the business licenses?
I'll motion for that.
Second.
Mrs. Evans?
Yes.
Mrs. Gilmore?
Yes.
Mr. Levinson?
Yes.
Mr. Montgomery?
Yes.
Mayor Klaus?
Yes. All right, we're at the comments from the public. If you want to come up and speak, raise your hand to come up, and then when I call on you, state your name, address. All right, anybody interested? Yes.
Pardon me, I'm a little nervous. Good evening, Mayor Klaus, members of the committee, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Robert Mode. It is my distinct honor and privilege to announce my candidacy for a Hainesport Township Committee.
Is your address?
My address is 202 Lumberton Road, here in Hainesport. Just had a flashback, 7 Cork Place, where I grew up. I've been a resident here in Hainesport on Lumberton Road for 13 years, and it's been a real delight the entire time. My first friends were Jack and JoBeth Dixon, who made me feel like one of their family. I'll always be eternally grateful to them. Now I'm very happy to say that the aldermans who took over their property have also taken me into their lives. I'm truly blessed to know them. Many folks have asked me why I'm running, and it's pretty simple, really. While I was surprised to be approached by Deborah, Anna, and the Hainesport Democrats, for some time, like many Americans, the slow yet steady lack of civility, the erosion of personal rights, and government intrusion into some aspects of private life has dismayed me. I look on this as an opportunity to be part of the solution. Someone once said all politics is local, and I want to be involved in a concrete way to try and improve the lives of all the residents of Hainesport. I believe in the Constitution. I believe in the separation of church and state. I believe that the decisions regarding anyone's health is a personal one between their doctor and themselves. I believe in equality for all, regardless of race, creed, religion, gender, and economic status. I note that June is Pride Month here in the United States. It celebrates how far our society has come and how far we yet have to go to truly bring equality to everyone. Also of note, tomorrow is June 14th, Flag Day, the day we celebrate the Stars and Stripes and all it stands for. I believe the American flag can share a place in our hearts with the Pride flag. I really do believe that. Our town is a haven in a rapidly growing area here in South Jersey. But recently, we have succumbed to the siren call of expanding commercial properties. Of course, I'm referring to the warehouses that are springing up all over. Enough of them. While these behemoths continue unabated, many existing retail and commercial properties that are sitting idle and empty go forgotten. And on our short stretch of Route 38 alone, there are at least 10 unoccupied businesses. Where is the push to fill these spaces? Where is the leadership to help secure thriving concerns that could go a long way to employing our local community? Recently, at the wonderful Hainesport Wellness Day, we were all treated to the sight of this town's spirit and ability to work together. Our town leaders need to harness that spirit and show the way on improving these forgotten properties. One thing I have witnessed myself at these meetings, like tonight, is the attention to detail and obvious knowledge of their jobs shown by the professionals here tonight. I am referring to Administrator Costco, Solicitor Gillespie, and Deputy Clerk Wicker. Thank you very much. I would like to take this opportunity to especially thank Donna Casey and her entire team in the Hainesport Recreation Department. Aided by our wonderful Public Works Department, led by Joe Crane, in the past 6 weeks alone, they have put on the Earth Day celebration, the Memorial Day wreath-laying ceremony, and finally, Hainesport Wellness Day. The whole town owes them a debt of gratitude. Lastly, to the voters who came out on primary day and showed their support for myself and for Deborah, we cannot thank you enough. You have given us the confidence necessary to work harder and to strive to represent all of Hainesport. Thank you, and thank you to the committee for your time.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Nobody online?
No.
Okay, with that, I'll close. Oh,
Well, I'm a bit verklempt, so you have to excuse me as I kind of hack here. Deborah Harris, 7 Elsinore Drive. Many thanks to Paula for responding to my email regarding upcoming updates to Chase Park, and also to Committeewoman Anna Evans, and the head of Public Works, Joe Crane, who took the time to tour the conditions at the park. There are a number of new families with kids at Hainesport Chase, and many of us meet frequently at the park for play dates. You already know about the basketball courts. They're on the schedule for this year. But in addition, residents have shared with me their concerns that the play equipment is outdated, it's moldy and dirty, and the benches and the picnic tables are dirty and disgusting. The handball courts are unusable for the intended purpose. I just want to say another thank you to all of the Hainesport residents who came out to vote on primary day. As the Democratic candidates for Hainesport Township Committee, both Bob Mode and I are looking forward to a great campaign. We've been meeting with residents and listening to their concerns and their questions, some of which I will share with this committee tonight. As the committee is aware, residents have long-standing concerns about the increase in truck traffic on Lumberton Road, including increased noise and concerns about the handling of the truck weight on the tracks. Lumberton Road is a county road, and residents are aware of this, but they would like to know what, if any, action the committee is taking with the county to address these long-standing concerns. Yet another thank you to Paula, the township CFO, and our finance team for their sound fiscal management and recommendations to this committee that have allowed the township to pay their bills. The Republicans have controlled Township Committee and township finances for over 30 years. So, some questions. How long did the township carry this debt obligation before it was paid? And what was the source of the debt obligation? Was it because committee members took Cadillac health insurance at the expense of taxpayers? Was it from the purchase of Creek Turn Park? If the debt obligation was from Creek Turn Park, what happened to the committee's plan to offset the debt by selling the Route 38 frontage for commercial development? Lastly, Does the committee condone using township resources in furtherance of political campaigns? Is it okay for a committee person to direct that at a public event, like, say, an Easter event, that it be stopped so that he and his running mate can get a photo op while residents wait and stand in the cold with their children, trying to explain to their kids why they have to wait for the Easter Bunny to be done taking pictures with politicians? Is it okay for the committee to politicize a solemn event like Memorial Day by causing the majority party's wreath to be presented last instead of the wreath of the fallen, just because an incumbent running for re-election wants the presenter spotlight? Is it okay for a committee person to use his official government Facebook page to make over 100 posts promoting his campaign, as well as other partisan campaigns and partisan political opinions? As to using township social media in furtherance of your political campaigns, if the posts are not removed immediately, I will be filing a complaint with the local finance board for a violation of the state ethics law. And so ends my comments and questions to the committee tonight.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else? Yes.
Karen Torty, 4 Easton Way. Now I'll say some positive things. So Jerry, it's nice to have you back this month. Ken, you did a nice job running the meeting last month. We appreciate both of you. I'd also like to congratulate this month's Joint Land Use Board meeting. Hainesport welcomed Star Child School, which will be a great resource for our toddlers and a wonderful supplement for homeschooled children. Also at the meeting, we are all very, very pleased that Lillo's is staying. Not only are they a great business, but they are very considerate of their neighbors, and they belong in Hainesport. But I'd just like to commend Bruce McLaughlin especially, because he stepped up and did a great job easing some of the tensions which seemed to be building between the board and the owners. He took the time to stop, explain to them how important it was to get everything on the record, and he actually, I believed, helped to change the course of the meeting because it was getting a little rough. So congratulations to Bruce for stepping up. On Sunday, Ken and I happened to be at the municipal building, and we ran into a great event that was being held there, the Healthy Kids Running event. I was not too familiar with this, but it was really nice to see. There were 150 children participating. Their families were all there. It was a great, great event. The firemen were there, and they were going to present the awards. So congratulations to them. We're going to look into that for our grandchildren. We had promised Lisa, the director, that we would give them a shout out and promote it, so here I am promoting it and shouting out to them. Of course, congratulations to Donna Casey and all involved in the EMS night, Community Day, etc. They were a huge success as always. Thank you to the committee as well for all that you have done. And finally, congratulations to the 8th graders on their graduation. Very proud of them. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? With that, I'll be closing public comment. And we've got any comments from the administrator?
Sure. First, I just wanted to acknowledge that we did receive the Hainesport Volunteer Fire Company's statement of receipts and disbursements. We did receive that on April 27th. And just as we've done mostly for, I don't know, for the last 7 years that I've been here, the first payment has generally been authorized during this month in June. So you guys are on course to what's been going on past practice in terms of providing them their allocation and doing it in 3 installments. You have in the past fronted funds. There have been times where they've had some shortfalls, and there have been special dispensation towards them in terms of, we'll give you, you know, part of your allocation knowing that you're going to be providing us with your audit or your statement within 30 days or so. So just wanted to acknowledge that you guys are on the same course that you always have been in terms of dispersing funds to the fire company. As I stated earlier, I did make an application to the state for pass-through funds from the federal government to help our cybersecurity posture and help bolster that. So that is, we are eligible for up to $15,000 on that. Also, we are eligible for up to $700 in assistance for the lead program, which you all introduced tonight through ordinance. It is a requirement of the state that we start inspecting for lead. There obviously are parameters in place for that, but we are eligible to apply for a grant, and we could potentially get up to $700. There's also another grant opportunity from the State Department of Agriculture if we so choose to do this. It's for the spotted lanternfly program, and this would be obviously to contract out. We don't have the certification to spray ourselves, but to hire a subcontractor to spray our public spaces, and this is also $15,000. The deadline to apply for that is September 1st. And then finally, I just wanted to let the governing body know that we did, in fact, get approved for the $25,000 Stormwater Assistance Grant Program. So basically, what I'm asking for you is just authorization to go ahead and move forward on these grant applications. If we feel it's prudent for us to do so, we can actually employ the money. I don't want to create something if it's not something that we already have in terms of our goals for the year. But if we choose to, they're small, they're not binding us to anything, greater than basically face value, what I said it is. But instead of doing it by formal resolution, John said it was okay to present these to you since they're small grants, and just get your approval to move forward on applying.
Everybody okay with that? What was the total? Sorry?
Sure, so the cyber one, I'm asking for retroactive approval because it was due on Friday. That was for $15,000. The spotted lanternfly grant program, we're eligible for up to $15,000. The lead grant assistance program, $700 is our estimated award, and that's
700?
700.
Okay.
Yeah, for our size municipality.
I'd like to make a motion that we move forward.
We don't need a motion, we just need a verbal, right?
No, I think a motion
Oh, okay.
to authorize the submission.
Okay.
I'd like to make that motion, that we move forward with looking into those grants.
Yeah, and I'll second that, especially the spotted lanternfly grant, and I think that's a great plan.
Not the truth.
Mr. Levinson?
Yes.
Mrs. Evans?
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye. Good job, Paula. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. That is all. Thank you.
Okay, comments from our solicitor.
I don't have any. Good seeing you all.
I like that, I think I'm going to do the same thing. Okay, comments from the committee. Anna?
Okay, I'm going to start by trying to address some of the comments made by the public, only the ones I feel qualified to. So firstly, it is Pride Month. And I agree with you. I actually did some research, and 7.1% of Americans identify as LGBTQ+, and that means approximately 400 Hainesport residents. So I would like to take this opportunity to wish them all a happy Pride Month, along with their families, and of course their allies, which are super important. In terms of the park, I did go. It was wonderful that I got to go, and I obviously observed some of the same things that you did, Deb. Some of them are already on the plan to be addressed. So the mulch is going to be replaced in the next couple of weeks, and there is a plan to replace all of the wood in the benches and the picnic tables. I'm not quite sure what the time frame of that is, but that is going to happen. The other stuff, the fact that the play equipment is outdated, we're really going to have to look at how we can fit that into our actual renovation plan, okay? So that's not something that's going to be fixed instantly, but some of the concerns are going to be addressed, okay? In terms of speaking to the county commissioners, that's also my liaison. I have tried, but they are not receptive to any real discussion about helping us out with our public roads, with the county roads. I will keep trying, keep working on it, keep bringing it up, try and get some leverage by, I believe we're doing a radar study on Mount Highway, for example, so whatever we can do, I will try and do it. Finally, I I feel it's important to also acknowledge Kathy Newcomb's role with the Lillo's application. I know she's worked tirelessly, and I think she also was a presence at the Joint Land Use Board meeting and is to be commended for how she stepped in and also managed the issues with that application. I was also told when I voted against a particular member being put on the JLUB that as the fourth advocate, they wouldn't be voting, and I'm a little distressed that they actually ended up running that meeting. Okay, on to the stuff I was going to say anyway, which is, okay, great job on Memorial Day by the Recreation Committee. As usual, Donna Casey did a stellar job. Leila Gilmore and I also had the privilege of attending the county Memorial Day ceremony and laying a wreath for Hainsport there. Community Wellness Day, amazing, as has been said. I did run the 5K in 32 minutes, Mr. Glasby. Very excited, it's all come out that we are welcoming the great artist Thomas Danbo and his troll sculpture next week, so that's exciting. We also just came from the J Suites ribbon cutting, which is amazing. And finally, Paula, you're doing stellar grant work as always.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Bruce?
Thank you. I just wanted to say thank you for everybody that participated in our Health and Wellness Day. I think it was a great success. I heard from different people that it was probably the best Health and Wellness Day that we've ever had so far. So Donna Casey did a wonderful job in putting that all together. And once again, a lot of this doesn't take place without the volunteers of Hainsport. I think we had a few extra this year. I beg for more. So that's one of the things I wanted to just to put out there. The other thing, I had a chance encounter with a new resident who was coming from Mount Laurel. And we don't often have something to reflect against with regard to the employees and how they relate to our residents here in Hainsport. What she told me about Mount Laurel is you call the Mount Laurel building and they don't call back. And you go to the Mount Laurel building and you ask for assistance and the people aren't very nice. She said this place and this building and these employees are a total contrast, that when she calls, she gets responses. When she visits, people are there to greet them with a smile, and they're overly and abundantly helpful. And that's what we have here in this township, and that's what we have here in this township committee building. And I just want to say, great job, Hainsport Township Committee folk, you do a wonderful job. And I didn't know those things, because I've always lived here or in Willingboro, where I never really went to the Township Committee building, but I've always lived here. And I expected that other places were like that, and they're not. So we have something special here. Thank you.
Indeed.
Leila?
Okay, so, well, I want to particularly thank the state police for their presence at Hainsport Day. They showed up in full force, and the kids just went crazy. I mean, it was a wonderful show of community. I also noticed that we had a landscape refresh over at the Kenneth Street Community Center, and I thank the Little Elves for making that happen. Appreciate that. This is also National Dairy Month, which is close to my heart, being a dairy farmer. And Farm Fair is July 18th to the 22nd for those of you who would like to pretend to be a farmer and also have a good time with their rides. In the June issue of the New Jersey League of Municipalities magazine, Hainsport Township got a little shout out, and it kind of spoke to me. It was an article on what exit are you and how to promote your town. And in doing so, you need to start by understanding your town's vision. And it says, who do you want to attract? Your town might be like Hainsport, wishing to promote a cozy hometown family community, which just broke me up. And then it went on to talk about Woodstock, New York, and the hippies and other towns that are much bigger than us and have grown much quicker than us. And I'm very proud of our little town. I also want to take this moment just to wish my husband a very happy anniversary. Today, we are together 46.
Oh, wow.
Thank you.
Okay.
I got to follow that. Ooh. Happy anniversary to Leland, Bob.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, the Thomas Dambo project, international artist, and if you ever look at the website, he has these trolls throughout the world, and it's very cool. I wanted to thank the administration as well as resident Tristan Silk, who's worked on it for over 2 years, and just really a lot of work. So we're very excited about that starting and the number of volunteers that are going to be helping. Healthy Kids Running Series attended that on Sunday, and they had little kids running 50-yard dashes, 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds. And I asked, did they have to take a break at 25 yards before they went on? It was wonderful. And our EMTs and our fire department were there to give out the little trophies. A lot of high school and middle school children were there as volunteers. So volunteerism there and with our EMT and fire was in full force, and happy that I was able to be there to help support that and be involved in that. It's a great event. It happens twice a year, in the fall and in the spring. I'm also happy to see an abandoned retail site taken over by J Sweets. Congratulations to Sue Jaquette and the many entrepreneurs, a women-owned business, and many women business owners in there. So we were there, the committee was there for the ribbon cutting. Happy to be a part of that and to welcome J Sweets to Hainesport. Hainesport Wellness Day, the fire, EMT, and the police, full throttle, and volunteers, and Don, as always, just great job. And also for Memorial Day, I would just like to say, for someone to make an accusation of what my reasons are for doing things without knowing me, and my heart is completely uncalled for. I am a public servant. I am not a politician. Proud of our 8th grade students at Hainesport. I had 4 children that have gone through here. I've lived here since 1996. I haven't lived here just a couple years. I've lived here a very long time. It's my children's hometown, and now my hometown, as I've lived here for a very long time, as I've said, and why I'm a public servant and why I've served Hainesport in many, many ways over many, many years. I'd like to also remind everyone that tomorrow is Flag Day, and to post your flags, hang your flags, and post them for our great country. Thank you.
Okay, it's been quite a month, a lot of events going on, a lot of things, but I want to thank everybody that participated in Wellness, Memorial Day, a lot of things, but I kind of had my daughter's wedding this month.
That's right.
And one of the things I wanted to mention was it's Dairy Month. Well, when I was 14 years old, Christmas Eve, I went to Cowtown, and without my parents knowing it, I bought a cow. And I brought it home. They were rather upset. So I named it Katie, and, I figured I could pick this cow up every day for the rest of my life until it weighs 3,000 pounds. There comes a day you can't pick it up no more. So.
And that was here, Jerry, right?
Yeah, Hainesport.
Up here in Hainesport, yeah.
So.
You still have that cow, don't you?
No. But so it's interesting because I named my daughter after.
You did not name her after the cow. No, you didn't.
She knows it. So she, of course, reception at Johnson's Farm, and they have cows, and they took pictures with the cows with her because, everybody knows she was named after my cow.
Oh, my goodness.
So, no, the event was great, and I brought my family lives in Alsace, France, the German border. They flew in from Germany, and I brought them to the Township building, 6 of them, and they were treated so well, so welcomed, and, you know, it made me proud to be here and be able to bring my family from, you know.
Another country?
From another country, and they really enjoyed it. Everybody was so welcoming to them. It was very nice. So I want to say
They
thank
were
you very
so
much.
excited.
Yeah, they were. They liked it. Of course, I had to get a picture with the mayor thing. And they're all Klaus. They're my same last name, so it's neat. So, but I want to say thank you all, and, you know, look forward to seeing you again. Oh, I'm sorry, Paula, you have something?
Yeah, I apologize. So I just wanted to also acknowledge, we printed a Hainsport Township newsletter,
Yes.
which we received many kudos for that product. It was fully funded by the sponsors. It cost taxpayers a little over $700 for that newsletter. And that was for the,
Postage.
just the postage. So we will be putting out another one in the fall, and we like to continue to do this in addition to our electronic newsletter, which is bi-monthly. But I wanted to just acknowledge the staff that really put a lot of time and effort into that product, but especially Tara. Tara, you did a phenomenal job on that, and I want to say thank you.
Yeah.
Anytime Tara takes on a project, she does it unbelievably well, and just the attention to detail, and she definitely keeps me and really everybody straight. So, yeah, so I just want to acknowledge Tara for that. Thank you so much.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah,
I was definitely remiss. I had a number of neighbors come up and just tell me how meaningful it was, and it was chock full of just really great information, so.
I had
Good
that
job.
as well. We play regular bunco once a month, and the people that we get together with, I have to say, Tara, they loved it. They thought it was really informative. They want more of it. So just
get more.
kudos to you.
And everybody really cooperated. It was really great. Great job.
A lot of good stuff going on in Hainsport.
Okay,
Here's some bills.
Pay the bills.
I guess we can pay the bills.
I'll make a motion to pay the bills.
I'll second Leela's motion to pay the bills in case we can hear her.
Mrs. Gilmore?
Yes.
Mr. Levinson?
Yes.
Mr. Montgomery?
Yes.
Mrs. Evans?
Yes.
Mayor Klaus?
Yes. Okay, we have executive, no? Okay, well, good. So we will not have to, so we, a motion to adjourn?
I'll second that.
How about first?
So moved?
How about somebody motion it?
I thought you motioned.
Okay.
All right, I'll second it.
Okay.
Mr. Montgomery?
Yes.
Mr. Levinson?
Yes.
Mrs. Gilmore?
Yes.
Mrs. Evans?
Yes.
Mayor Klaus?
Yes. Okay, with that, thank you all.
Do your gavel?
Oh, yeah.
You got it. Don't worry about it.
That's one of the few things I did right.
I have but one request.
We're gonna shut this off, Paul?
I have but one request. Can I get a new book? I keep forgetting